The plays all take place in the same theatre dressing room over the span of about 40 years. They're not a trilogy in the traditional sense of a single plot evolving over time. They're thematically linked. They're all about storytellers and their relationships with the stories that they tell.
You're looking at love, loss, life, and how we tell stories. And also it's a very passionate look into theatre itself, the nature of theatre.
The first play is called Funny Voices, and it was performed in May 2021, although it had a former life the year before as a monologue performed by Erica Sanderson.
There was a lot of audio work going on because the theatres had gone dark, and I found a series that was asking for monologues to be performed by actors. And I asked Dario if he thought he might have anything suitable for me. And he gave me a short piece of an actress talking about aspects of her career with a series of funny voices.
She was a very particular generation of actress, of performer whose careers spanned the kind of the tail end of music hall and variety theatre through the golden age of radio, through the heyday of British filmmaking in the 40s and 50s and 60s, and then television and the birth and the rise of sitcom. And they're a really interesting generation because they did so much, and they're sort of forgotten about now. Actresses like Hattie Jakes, who are kind of only remembered for one role, one type of role that she played, and that's really an injustice. So I've been writing some notes down about a character for a theatre project actually, but as it turned out, she first debuted in the monologue,
which I recorded, had a lot of fun with, and then didn't really think very much of it. And then some time later, and Dario said that he had taken the ideas that he had from that sort of sketch that he had initially written, and he was going to do it as a one-act play, and would I like to play the role?
Because it was designed to be a play. The original notes were all about a theatrical show, and the monologue had been an adaptation of that, so I really wanted to do the full version of the story, which had a lot more detail, a lot more depth to it. So we started work.
The premise of the plot concerns Joyce, who by now is an elderly actress. She had been a rising star of the music hall and variety in her youth, and she comes back to a theatre that she has played in many times in the past, and it revolves around her in her dressing room before her performance, and she reminisces about her career, and we meet other characters that she's met both professionally and personally in her life, and through that they share stories, and her whole career is brought to life through a series of sort of flashbacks and songs and conversations with these other characters.
We rehearsed it initially on Zoom, and then back in the rehearsal room only with a giant grid on the floor so that we could keep distancing while we were working, and then eventually we got it on stage in front of an audience for the first time in over a year, and it went down a storm.
I will never ever forget the end of the opening night when everyone was back in a theatre, and it was just like coming home, and we received a standing ovation, and people were crying because theatre was back.
It meant a lot, particularly because it was the project that kind of brought us back after such a long time. It was only intended as a one-off. It was designed and written just as a standalone piece, and as it turns out, that wasn't actually the case.